So first of all, I gotta thank Charlie Rage for letting me jump onto his live. That was a nice, lovely experience, so thank you. And we got to talk movies with a few other people, which was amazing. I got a question in their live, which was, what Australian films can I recommend? And I was really honest. I was like, I don't like watching our movies. Like, that's not a me thing. But I had a look at my letterbox while I was talking to them, and I was trying to figure out movies that I can recommend. So let me just pull up the movies of Australian films that I have sat through. So I'll just give you my screenshot of letterbox, and then we'll break it down on what I can recommend for people who aren't Australian to watch, or people who are Australian who haven't seen them. Also, I explained in the chat that a lot of movies, I think it was Charlie who put it out, that a lot of films are also filmed in Australia, a lot of American films, such as some of the Marvel films, some of the Rush Hour films, some of Jackie Chan's movies as well. I think it's Mr. Nice Guy that was filmed here. I could be wrong, but I know it's definitely one of the older movies. It's very dated, and I mean it's dated. But let me bring up my letterbox and show you the movies that I've seen of Australian films that I can recommend, excluding the Australia film because I fell asleep through that one. But here's my letterbox list. So I have a letterbox list called It's Australian, just roll with it. So if you jump over to my letterbox, you can get a better feel of it. So there's Angel Baby. Backyard Ashes was one I recommended. It's a cricket movie where this guy, the blonde guy, who's also in Round the Tryst, for anybody who's an Aussie, he accidentally kills his boss's cat in the barbecue. Bad Boy Bubby I finally watched. I got told not to watch this. Now I understand why, but not everyone told me not to watch it because it's messed up, but it kind of is, because I don't really understand the relationship between the mother and their son. Ew. But it's also, I didn't like it. Better Watch Out, The Black Balloon, which this guy, he's an up-and-comer who I recommend watching. I can't remember his name. But it's a drama. Coca-Cola Kid. Christmas Ransom is a new one. It's a pretty good Christmas movie. Christmas on the Farm. Brothers Nest, which is Shane Jacobson. He's a brilliant comedian to watch out. Bosch and Rocket, filmed in our own backyard by an Australian actor who used influence of his own life. Totally recommend that. I had a Q&A session with the director and some of the actors. Lovely movie to watch. The Daughter, The Delinquents, Don't Tell, which is about a true story on sexual abuse of children. It is a hard watch, and I broke down crying afterwards. Elvis, Erskine Kings. What else do we have? The Heartbreak Kid, which for some reason I thought was a Ben Stiller movie. It is not a Ben Stiller movie. He Died with a Falafel in His Hand, which is also a book and a good movie. Hail. Footy Legends, which is another good one. It's kind of like the Down on the Lark community town football team getting together. It's also to deal with An Kondo, and his story is about an Asian person coming into Australia and trying to understand that Australian way of life. Felony is boring. How to Please a Woman, recommend. Inspector Gadget was filmed here. My lecturer was a producer on this. Iron Sky. It's Nazis in Space. June Again. Kenny. Malcolm, I got recommended by one of the people who I used to work with. It's an odd movie. It's definitely of its time. Mad Max. Ladies in Black. The Merger. Mr. Nice Guy, which is what I was talking about. My Brilliant Career, which was Australian's first film on director, I believe. My First Summer, Never Too Late. It is a heartfelt movie. Love it. Poker Face, boring. Pimped is good. I think it's just, it is quite dark. Porno, Paperback Hero, Hugh Jackman. He is a truckie turned author. It's really sweet. It's such a good movie. Definitely watch. Now add Honey. The Portable Door is a new release. It came out this year. Not good. Predestination. Again, not good. The Pretend One. This one deals with imaginary friends in a grown-up situation. So it's a grown-up. This young woman has an imaginary friend. And the isolation of what it's like being in a rural town. Proof. Rabbit Proof Fence, which is to do with Indigenous culture. So if you sit down and watch it, please be mindful that it will use language and topics of particular racism. It's also about the stolen generation. If you're an Australian, you'll know what it is. If you're not, the stolen generation is essentially back when white people took Indigenous children and raised them as white kids. Yeah, it's a hard movie. We've got Skinford, which is really good. Again, my lecturer directed this. I believe it's New Zealand rather than Australian, but Separation City. Samson Delilah. Romper Stomper is about Nazis, and Russell Crowe's in it. It's good, but the language and of course everything in it's really hard to sit through. Ride Like a Girl is based off a true story. Skinford Chapter 2, another good one. Sleeping Beauty. Spotswood, which is Anthony Hopkins. He comes to Australia to try and save a business, you know, that sort of deal. Stormboy, I believe, is a remake as well. Suburban Mayhem. They're a Wib Mob. It has aged poorly, so bear that in mind when you watch it. The language in it is very Australian, very dated, and I technically think it's not an Australian who filmed it. I think it's someone who came to Australia and was like, this is what I perceive Australia as. But it is Australian. These Final Hours, That's Not My Dog is just a comedy movie of a bunch of comedians trying to outdo each other. Sunburnt Christmas. A Sunburnt Christmas is really good. It's a Christmas movie in a rural town. It's actually a happy movie, so don't stress. The Sum of Us, this is what I recommended in the live. Russell Crowe plays a gay man who's happy and proud, but kind of comes with that tumbling effect of what it's like being a gay man in the 90s. We got The Tree, which is a drama. True History of the Kelly Gang. Unfinished Sky, which my lecturer had a hand in. Not for me personally, but yeah. The Walkabout. The Water Diviner. What else do we have? Broken Hill. It's boring. How Do You Know Chris? The Loved Ones, which was talked about a while on TikTok. Then you got Wolf Creek 1 and 2. Run Rabbit Run, which is a new release, and I found it boring. The Nugget. If you want Australian comedy, watch The Nugget. I can't remember if it's dated or not, but it is a good movie. Sweet Country is an Indigenous film, but it is also incredibly hard to sit through because of the language and the topics used. My Mistress is a BDSM styled movie. I think one of my lecturers had a hand in this, I can't remember. Strangerland, Talk to Me, Kath and Kim Dorella movie, and Celeste, which was directed by one of my lecturers, and I absolutely love Celeste. It's about a celebrity kind of dealing with her emotions. But yeah, like, that's just a small list of what I've seen. I will constantly add to it, so jump to my letterbox, which is Laura, and look for It's Australian, just roll with it, and see Laura and reviews, and just find some recommendations. There are some that I loved, some I hated, but it's all just to do with your own taste and style. But yeah, we're really interesting when it comes to films. I found that Crying is really good because most of it's based off true stuff, like our gangsters in Sydney. All the underbelly stuff is pretty good, but that's just a small selection, which I will try and update as much as possible when it comes to movies. So I thought I'd do that little video and hope it entertains you guys and you guys have new Australian films to watch, or maybe it even showed you which films aren't technically Australian but they were filmed here. Oh, porno is it's about a pawn shop, by the way, just to let you know.